Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really honing in, focusing specifically for your UPSC preparation.
That's right.
We're tackling the key current affairs material from June 2nd, 2025. This is part one of our dive.
Exactly. And we've got quite a range today. We'll be looking at everything from, well, melting glaciers and ancient human history, all the way to new tech initiatives happening right here in India, and some, frankly, surprising biological finds.
It's a real mix, and our goal, as always, is to help you navigate this. We'll pull out the essentials, connect the dots for you,
And really unpack why these specific points matter for your upcoming exams. It's about getting those crucial insights.
precisely. And look, some of these topics might ring a bell. You might have seen them before.
Good point.
If so, great. Consider it valuable revision. Reinforcing these concepts is key. Tackling this variety, it's essential for that comprehensive prep.
It really is. Builds that broader understanding.
Absolutely. So settle in. And hey, if you find this deep dive useful for your studies, please do hit that like button and subscribe to the deep dive.
Yeah, it helps us keep these daily analyses coming your way.
It really does. Okay, let's get started. Where are we beginning?
Let's start with something pretty immense, visually and ecologically. The Perito Moreno Glacier.
Ah, the white giant. I've seen pictures. Incredible. Where exactly is it?
Okay, so it's down in Argentina, near a town called El Calafate in Santa Cruz province.
Right.
It's part of the Los Glaciares National Park, right there in the Andes Mountains, South America.
And it's old, right? Really old.
Oh, yeah. Ancient. Formed around 18,000 years ago during the last ice age.
Wow.
And it's huge. About 30 kilometers long, stands maybe 60 meters above the water. It's a major, major source of fresh water for Argentina.
But like so many glaciers, it's facing challenges. The warming climate.
Unfortunately, yes, that's the backdrop. While it has some unique behaviors, it is ultimately, part of that global trend. It's crumbling, disappearing faster than it used to because temperatures are rising.
But it's also famous for something quite dramatic, isn't it? The ice breaking off?
Exactly. That's the calving phenomena. It's known for these massive scale ice calving events because it actually keeps advancing. It builds up pressure
Oh.
and huge chunks just break off, boom, into the water. They've documented this since at least 1917. It makes this incredible thunderous sound.
I can only imagine.
And kind of ironically, these dramatic collapses have actually made it a huge tourist draw.
So, this ancient, moving giant, shedding ice dramatically, but also threatened by overall melt. It's complex.
Very complex. And just for context, the material mentions the Lambert Glacier as the world's biggest, just a comparison point.
Got it. So, for your preparation, Perito Moreno hits several key areas. Geography, location, Andes, Argentina, environment, clear climate change impact,
Might say.
and physical geography, understanding glaciers, formation, and the specific calving process.
Right. Now let's completely shift gears. Let's talk health and nutrition. Some recent findings from India.
Okay, this is about vitamin B9, folate, and an AIM study finding high deficiency.
Yes, quite high. The study showed almost 41% deficiency among urban adolescents, specifically those in government schools in North India. That's a pretty concerning statistic.
41%. Wow. So what exactly is folate?
It's the natural form of vitamin B9. It's water soluble, meaning your body doesn't store it for long periods. You get it from food.
And it's super important, especially for teenagers who are still growing rapidly.
Crucial. It's needed for making red blood cells, the ones that carry oxygen. Plus, healthy cell growth and function generally. For kids and adolescents, it's fundamental for development.
What specific roles does it play during those years?
Well, think of it as essential for building and maintaining the body. It helps synthesize and repair DNA and RNA, the body's blueprints.
Right.
It's key for producing red blood cells constantly, developing the central nervous system, particularly early on, and it plays a role in brain function, even emotional health. Plus, all that tissue growth and repair happening during adolescence.
And if you don't get enough, what are the consequences?
The main one is anemia, a lack of healthy red blood cells. That means less oxygen getting around the body, which causes fatigue and other issues.
Okay, so where can people find folate naturally in their diet?
Good news is it's in a lot of common foods. Green leafy vegetables are great sources, spinach, fenugreek, things like that. Also legumes, lentils, chickpeas, citrus fruits, nuts, whole grains. And many breakfast cereals are fortified with folic acid, which is the synthetic form.
And the study mentioned dietary lack as the main cause.
Yes, that's usually the primary driver for deficiency, especially when looking at population groups just not getting enough folate-rich foods regularly. The material also briefly notes that sometimes specific forms, like folate 9, are used clinically for deficiencies involving B6, B9, and B12.
Okay, so the key insight here isn't just the number, but what it suggests about diet and nutrition, possibly access to in this specific group. For UPSC prep, science and tech, vitamins, health, social issues, health status, and it makes you think about nutrition-related government schemes.
Definitely. Okay, let's travel way back in time now. Archaeology calling.
Ah, the Neolithic Age. And a specific find by the ASI in Kanyakumari district. A rock groove.
Exactly. One of the first identified rock grooves from the Neolithic, likely used for sharpening stone tools or weapons. A tangible piece of that era.
And the Neolithic, or New Stone Age, was a massive shift, wasn't it? The beginning of settling down.
Huge shift. It's really the final stage of cultural evolution before we get into the Metal Ages. And yes, the defining characteristic is the start of a settled human lifestyle.
So moving away from just hunting and gathering?
Precisely. People started cultivating plants, domesticating animals. It fundamentally changed everything, their relationship with land, how they organized society.
And that's the core difference from the Paleolithic, the Old Stone Age. Nomadic versus settled agriculture.
That's the key distinction. The Neolithic generally kicks off around 10,000 BCE during the Holocene epoch, which is the geological epoch we're still in.
Yeah.
It follows the Paleolithic and precedes the Bronze Age.
Where did this whole agricultural revolution start?
The consensus is it began in the Fertile Crescent, the Middle East.
Right.
And then the practices, the ideas, they spread out into India, Europe, other parts of the world.
What did life actually look like in these Neolithic villages?
Well, you see more polished or ground stone tools rather than just chipped ones. A clear reliance on domesticated plants and animals. Permanent or semi-permanent villages pop up. Crafts like pottery and weaving become common. Houses were often made of mud brick or reeds, maybe rectangular or circular. And interestingly, this is likely when alcohol production started, and we see early forms of architecture and decoration.
The outline also mentioned insights into their beliefs from burials.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Finding status objects like fancy pottery or carved jade buried with certain individuals suggests a couple of things. One, possibly a belief in an afterlife.
Okay.
And two, the emergence of social classes. Some people clearly had more wealth or status than others.
And the long-term impact of this whole shift, the Neolithic Revolution.
It allowed populations to grow much, much larger than hunter-gatherer lifestyles could support. This concentration of people, resources, settled life, it paved the way for everything that followed. The innovations of the Bronze and Iron Ages, complex societies, trade, even conflict on a larger scale.
And what marked the end of the Neolithic? How did we move to the next phase?
It was the introduction of metalworking, specifically copper, during a transitional period sometimes called the Chalcolithic or Eneolithic.
Right, the Copper Age.
Yeah. And then as bronze technology mixing copper and tin became more common and effective, metal tools gradually replaced stone. And that really marks the transition into the Bronze Age.
Are there key Neolithic sites in India we should know?
Definitely. The source mentions Burzahum in Kashmir, Kairon in Bihar, Uttar in Andhra Pradesh, and the Adakal Caves in Kerala. All important sites for understanding the Indian Neolithic.
So finding one rock groove connects us to this huge transformation. For prep, history, ancient India, prehistory, culture, early society, tech, beliefs, geography, spread of agriculture, and archaeology itself.
Exactly. Let's move to conservation now. Tiger reserves in India.
Okay, this involves the Kawal Tiger Reserve in Telangana, and it's about connecting it to another reserve.
Yes, connecting it with the Tadoba Antari Tiger Reserve over in Maharashtra. The big news is the creation of a specific connecting area designated as the Kumrambeen Conservation Reserve.
Got it. So where is Kawal located?
It's in Telangana state, right along the Godavari River banks. It's part of that Deccan Peninsula Central Highlands area, nestled in the Sahyadri mountain ranges.
And its position is important for tigers moving between areas.
Crucial. It sits at the southern edge of the central Indian tiger landscape. This makes it a vital link, a corridor not just to Tadoba Antari in Maharashtra, but also potentially connecting towards the Netravati Reserve in Chhattisgarh.
Corridors are so important for genetic diversity.
Absolutely vital. Keeps populations healthy and resilient.
What kind of forest is it?
It's classified as southern tropical dry deciduous forest.
And typical plants and animals found there.
Flora includes important species like teak, bamboo, things like Anogesis latifolia. Fauna-wise, you've got your herbivores, nilgai, sambar, spotted deer, and the predators like tigers, leopards, wild dogs, holes, wolves.
Now, this new conservation reserve designation, how does that work legally?
Okay, this comes under Section 36A of the Wildlife Protection Act, 1972. This section allows state governments to declare areas, particularly those adjacent to or connecting existing protected areas like national parks or sanctuaries, as conservation reserves.
And it's different from a national park.
Yes. A key difference is that conservation reserves can permit limited human activities. This is often practical and necessary when creating corridors that pass through areas where people already live and work. It balances conservation with existing land use.
Right. So the big insight is the strategy of connecting protected areas. It's not just about isolated islands of conservation. For UPSC, Environment and Ecology, Tiger Reserves, Conservation Reserves, Wildlife Protection Act, geography, location, rivers, mountains, vegetation types, and biodiversity conservation strategies.
Precisely. Let's stick with biodiversity but move to a really cool discovery.
A new frog. Amolops, shillong, and the surprising part is where it was found.
Exactly. The Shillong Cascade frog, found practically hiding in plain sight right within Shillong city limits in Meghalaya. It's kind of amazing.
So what kind of frog is it?
It belongs to the Amolops genus. These are often called cascade frogs because, well, they like fast-flowing streams. This one was found in urban forest patches within Shillong.
And they confirmed it was a new species using genetics?
Yes, genetic analysis was key. It showed it's part of a group called the Amolops indo-burmanensis complex. It's closely related to another species, Amolops siju, which was actually found nearby in Siju Cave just back in 2023.
Oh, interesting.
But the big difference is the habitat. A siju is a cave dweller. A shillong was found near bustling neighborhoods in these urban streams.
So finding it there is significant. It tells us something.
It really does. It highlights that even small, maybe overlooked urban green spaces and streams can hold important, undiscovered biodiversity. Finding new Amolops species in urban settings is pretty rare.
And this genus, Amolops, has a history in India.
It does. They've been known here since the 1850s.
Yeah.
With this latest one, India now has 20 recognized species. And get this, 16 of those were first discovered in India.
Wow.
And even more striking, 9 of those 16 have been found just in the last 20 years, mostly from Northeast India.
Reinforces the Northeast as a biodiversity hotspot.
Absolutely. It underscores why conservation efforts there are so critical.
The insight. Biodiversity isn't just in remote jungles. It can persist in urban pockets. Value of microhabitats for prep, environment and ecology, biodiversity, new species, habitats, hotspots, sci-tech, taxonomy, genetics, geography, Northeast India locations.
Perfect. Let's switch now to international relations. Geopolitics, triggered by an India-Armenia meeting.
Okay, this brings up the Zangezur Corridor. What exactly is this proposed route?
So the Zangezur Corridor is a concept, a proposed transport route. The main idea is to connect mainland Azerbaijan with its exclave, Nakhchivan.
Right, Nakhchivan is separated from the rest of Azerbaijan.
Exactly. And the proposed route would essentially bypass Armenia, specifically going through or near Armenia's southern Sunik province. That's where the controversy lies.
And the name Zangezur itself refers to that region in southern Armenia with a history.
Correct. Zangezur is a historical and geographical region, mostly in southern Armenia now. It has been disputed territory in the past, especially around World War I, adding a layer of historical sensitivity.
How would this corridor link up with existing or planned transport networks?
The idea is, on the Azerbaijan side, it would connect into their Haradizag-Bend highway and railway network.
Okay.
And potentially, it could then link further into Turkey's planned Nakhchivan-Igdir-Kars transport links. This would essentially give Azerbaijan and Turkey a more direct land route to each other, bypassing other countries.
So clearly, major economic and strategic implications.
Huge. It carries significant weight for the South Caucasus region and beyond. The argument is it would boost Azerbaijan-Turkey trade, potentially trade with Europe too, lower transport costs, and cut travel times drastically.
And the bigger picture is about regional connectivity across Eurasia.
That's the strategic play. It's seen as potentially increasing connectivity across the Caucasus and linking up Turkish, Russian, Central Asian, Iranian, and Armenian networks, basically, another artery connecting Europe and Asia.
It's important not to confuse this with the Luhansk corridor, right? That was different.
Very different. Luhansk connected Armenia with Nagorno-Karabakh. Zangezur is this proposed east-west route bypassing Armenia proper. And Zangezur itself, again, is that historical region in southern Armenia.
Got it. So the InSight infrastructure projects as geopolitical tools intertwined with history and power dynamics. For UPSC, IR, geopolitics, regional connectivity, India-Armenia relations, geography, regions, corridors, borders, economy, trade routes, infrastructure.
Exactly. Okay, let's talk tech. India's push in artificial intelligence.
The IndiaAI Mission, and the news is about selecting startups to build India's own foundation model. That sounds like a big deal.
It is a significant step.
Yeah.
Shows a commitment to indigenous capability. The IndiaAI Mission itself, you might recall, launched in 2023. It's a joint effort between MeitY, the Ministry of Electronics, and IT and NASSCOM.
And the main goal, what are they trying to achieve?
Fundamentally, it's about boosting India's entire AI ecosystem. A big part of that is making high-performance computing power, which AI development needs a lot of, more accessible to startups and researchers here.
Okay.
The mission has sort of two main slogans: making AI in India, so developing the tech domestically, and making AI work for India, ensuring it benefits different sectors across the country.
And who's actually running the show, implementing it?
That falls to IndiaAI, which is set up as an independent business division operating under MeitY.
What are the hoped-for benefits? Big picture.
They want to democratize AI's benefits, make sure it reaches everyone. Also, strengthen India's position globally in the AI race. And crucially, promote ethical and responsible development in use of AI.
And it's built on several pillars, the outline mentioned.
Yes, several components. There's a plan for a common compute facility that's the accessible computing power, an AI Kosha, a platform for data sets needed to train AI.
Right.
An AI Safety Institute is upcoming. There's an IndiaAI Innovation Center, an initiative for AI application development, a focus on future skills to train people, and specific startup financing mechanisms.
Lots of components. The material also threw in some basic AI terms for context.
Yeah, just helpful reminders, like John McCarthy often being called the father of AI,
Right.
FLPS as a measure of computing speed, and GPUs being the specialized processors crucial for AI work.
Okay. InSight. India's building foundational AI infrastructure, not just using AI. It's about domestic capability and global standing with an ethical lens. For prep, SciTech, AI, GOV policy, Digital India, economy, innovation, startups, digital infrastructure, governance, MeitY's role.
Right on. Let's stay with SciTech, but shift to healthcare innovation.
Thrombectomy. And the news is support for India's first indigenous device for stroke care. That's great news.
It is. Indigenous is the key word here. So a thrombectomy basically is a procedure to remove a blood clot, a thrombus from a blood vessel, an artery, or a vein. The whole point is to restore blood flow.
And why is removing these clots so critical?
Because clots block blood flow. And when blood can't get through, the tissue downstream gets starved of oxygen and starts to die. This can happen anywhere, but common sites are legs, arms, intestines.
And the brain, causing stroke.
Exactly. Brain, lungs, heart, critical areas.
And you often have to act fast.
Extremely fast. In cases like stroke or a clot blocking flow to a limb, there's often a very short window, maybe just hours, to perform the thrombectomy to prevent permanent damage, disability, or even death. Time is brain, as they say for stroke.
The material mentioned two main types of thrombectomy.
Broadly, yes. Surgical, which is open surgery. The surgeon makes an incision, cuts open the vessel, physically removes the clot, maybe using a balloon catheter to help pull it out, and then stitches the vessel back up.
Okay. And the other?
The other is percutaneous. This is minimally invasive. They use catheters, thin tubes, inserted into the blood vessel and guided to the clot. Then special devices on the catheter can break up the clot or suction it out. Sometimes they also deliver clot-busting drugs right at the site.
So open surgery versus going in through the blood vessels with catheters.
That's the main difference in technique. But the goal is the same. Get the clot out, restore blood flow.
InSight. Indigenous development of critical medical devices like this can improve access and outcomes for urgent conditions like stroke. For UPSC, SciTech, biotech, medical devices, health tech, health treatments, stroke care, and government initiatives supporting local innovation.
Good summary. Let's swing back to geography. A river in Karnataka in the news.
The Netravati River. And it's about high water levels due to rainfall, leading to evacuations.
Yes, in Dakshina Kannada district. Continuous rain caused the river level to rise significantly, prompting precautionary measures. A direct impact of current weather.
So tell us about the Netravati. It's a major river there.
It is a major west-flowing river in Karnataka. often called the lifeline of Dakshina Kannada district, which tells you how important it is locally.
Where does it start? Its origin?
It originates up in the Western Ghats, specifically in the Bengal Valley of the Yelanuru Ghat, which is part of the Kudremukha range. Starts pretty high up, around 1,300 meters.
And where does it flow?
It flows generally westward towards the coast. A key point is Upanangadi, where it joins its main tributary, the Kumaradhara River.
Okay.
From there, it flows through Upanangadi town, continues towards the city of Mangalore, and finally empties into the Arabian Sea. It's about 103 kilometers long and drains a fairly large area, over 3,600 kilometers.
And the climate in its basin must get a lot of rain.
Oh, yeah. Heavy rainfall, especially during the monsoon. High humidity, hot summers. And as the news shows, it's very prone to flooding during the monsoon season because of all that rain falling in the Ghats.
And its importance beyond just drainage, water source.
Absolutely. It's a major source of water for Bantwal town and Mangalore city. Historically, it was even known as the Bantwal River. Plus, it flows through Dharmasthala, which is an important pilgrimage site, adding a cultural dimension.
Does it have other notable tributaries besides the Kumaradhara?
Yes, the source lists several others. Ridhyanjaya, Kapila, Aniyor, Samavathi, Kanyor, and Gunji rivers are mentioned as tributaries.
Okay, so just confirming. Major west-flowing river in Karnataka originates in Western Ghats, Kudremukha. Kumarhara is the main tributary.
All correct. The insight here is seeing a river system in action, its geography, its connection to climate, monsoon, floods, its role for cities, water supply, and even cultural significance. For prep, Indian geography, rivers, Western Ghats, drainage, states, environment, monsoon, flooding, culture, urban development. Right. One last topic for this part, a new digital policy initiative.
DHRUVA, Digital Hub for Reference and Unique Virtual Address. Sounds like a big digital infrastructure project from the Department of Posts.
It definitely sounds ambitious. DHRUVA, developed by the Department of Posts, aims to create the foundation for a nationwide digital address system, a digital public infrastructure, or DPI, for addresses.
So like Aadhaar for identity or UPI for payments, but for addresses.
That's the kind of comparison being made. The goal is a standardized, geocoded, and interoperable digital address system for the whole country to simplify address services and allow secure, consent-based sharing across different sectors.
And the core idea is address as a service.
Exactly. Thinking of address data management as a service that's efficient, secure, and importantly, user-controlled. It's envisioned as a backbone for service delivery, governance, e-commerce, letting citizens, government, and businesses share verified address info securely with consent in real time.
What are the key features this ACOS framework is supposed to guarantee?
The plan emphasizes interoperability systems talking to each other, standardization, consistent formats and geolocation, consent-based sharing, user control and privacy, and integration between public and private sector applications.
So the potential benefits are quite broad. E-governance, e-commerce.
Yes, streamlining all of that, plus potentially improving urban planning, making emergency response faster, more accurate. The idea is recognizing a good digital address system as core national infrastructure.
And the user, the citizen, remains in control of their data.
That's a stated principle. Citizens retain control over their digital address identity, managing access, updating details, and sharing securely only when they choose to.
What about accessibility, making sure everyone can use it?
Plans include multilingual support, mobile-first design, and integration with existing systems like Aadhaar to make it as easy to use as possible.
Now, DHRUVA builds on something called DigiPin.
Right. DigiPin Digital Postal Index Number is the underlying national addressing grid. It's an open-source, geocoded system developed by Dept of Posts with IIT Hyderabad and ISRO's NRSC.
How does DigiPin work?
It essentially divides India into small grids, roughly 4 meters by 4 meters, and assigns each grid a unique 10-character alphanumeric code based on its latitude and longitude.
A unique code for every small patch of land.
Pretty much, and it's intended to be publicly accessible, supporting logistics, emergency services, citizen services, and forming the basis for this DHRUVA-S layer.
Okay, so confirming. DHRUVA by Dept of Posts' goal is standardized, geocode interoperable digital address system, building on the DigiPin grid.
That summarizes it well.
The insight. Digital infrastructure is evolving to create foundational layers, like standardized addressing, impacting everything from governance to commerce. For UPSC, governance, GOVT initiatives, Digital India, SciTech, digital infrastructure, GS mapping, economy, e-commerce, logistics. social issues, accessibility, privacy.
A really wide-ranging set of topics today.
Absolutely. We've gone from, Argentinian glaciers and Neolithic tools to urban frogs, geopolitical corridors, India's AI ambitions, medical tech, river systems, and this new digital address infrastructure. Phew.
It really drives home the point about needing that broad knowledge base. And more importantly, seeing the connections. How climate change impacts geography, how tech impacts governance, how history informs the present.
Right. It's not just memorizing facts in isolation. It's about building that interconnected understanding. That's crucial for the exam.
Definitely. So as you, the listener, reflect on this, maybe think about which topics sparked the most curiosity or which connections seemed most significant. That's your cue to dig a bit deeper.
And remember, this was just part 1 for June 2nd. We'll have more current affairs analysis coming your way.
That's right. Stay tuned for the next part.
So if this deep dive helped your UPSC preparation today, please do give us a like and make sure you're subscribed to the deep dive for your daily dose of essential analysis.
We really appreciate you joining us.
We do. Thanks for listening.